Hey guys and gals on YouTube, how y'all doing? Dave Boyd here, and hey, look, before I show this, quick background. My mom and dad did a lot of stuff with World War II antiques and kind of drew me into that world. Well, let's see, the Maginot Line and there's other lines, but like in France that was supposed to prevent World War II from happening, from Germany from pushing in. They used a lot of bunkers made from tanks, old tanks. The turrets were put on like concrete bottoms, or in some cases, the tank itself was turned into a bunker. Anyways, World War II, with the Allied forces coming into Berlin, there was a lot of urban defense systems, and the Germans had realized they had a lot of Panthers, and I believe Panzer Mark IVs, that had been damaged to where they would no longer drive, no longer operate as a tank anymore. However, the weapon systems were still intact. And so they would strip the good parts, engines, trannies, and stuff like that out. And they would literally fortify the turrets and expose parts. Now, there was no running gear. They would bury them hull down into the ground, or in other words, modify hulls, and just leave the turret maybe a little bit on top, and the crew would basically sit in the turret. You had a gunner, commander, and a loader. And there's no electrics, everything's been killed. Heavy armor plating over what used to be grills and vents, all sealed up, and these are part of the defense. And there were actually the tank squadron, or what you want to call it, they called it stable or immobilized. But it was still, run like a tank squadron, just they were no longer moving, and not even a self-propelled gunhead. Even, more cumbersome than ACAC guns. Anyways, so now that's out of the way, I was looking at Star Wars stuff and thinking, and you want a vehicle that's got a turret. You want an army or a military that likes the ideas of drones, or less sentient. Trade Federation. And it fits. The problem with movies like Star Wars and whatever is they have to be compressed to keep the attention of the audience as I go on and on. And so there's no cleanup. Like there was, if you go on Google, there's like supposed to be 543 dead Gungans, which you never see in the movie. Well, of course, I get it, but still. These battles, CIS, it went across the universe, across galaxies, so that there's little pockets of resistance everywhere. There's fortifications everywhere. Destroyed tanks and parts would be reused. So the best tank for that seems to be, at least from my collection, the Trade Federation. And we're going with 75080. Now, the reason I chose this one because it does have a big bulky turret that revolves. And it has a fairly conventional but somewhat high tank body. But it's easier to imagine vents being closed and it being suckered out. Not to mention, if you follow the background story, when the magazines or the rockets run out, they replace this whole front end and reload it. So it would be possible that a stripped tank, this thing is kind of a loose one, that's better, would not have this lower section, and therefore, would be easier to bunker down. But, see the detail of the grills. I want you to pay attention to that because I've made some changes. So I made a little mock here. And I just grabbed whatever I had for base plate. So it's one of these old vintage lunar plates, which I think actually works pretty good. Because I didn't want it to really be Naboo, so I threw some trees together. And actually, I think I may have settled on a tree that works pretty good. It's got the seaweed piece, like on the X-Wing with Dagobah, with those new frond leaves. To me, they look like something else. The Reverend Green, but anyways, and then the old sectional palms. These leaves here work pretty good on the bottom, and I have literally taken the top off of 75080, including the detail to the rear. I changed the turret, or the hatch on top, from Legos, and gave it a more armored with this hump on the top here. I've tried to kind of not change it too much. I did deck over all the grills and the vents, and of course it still rotates. So the imagination would be that a crew of 3, or maybe in case of droids, actually in case of droid fighters, maybe there's no one on board. Maybe it's literally a remote controlled gun. But the idea was that it would be, depending on the area, it could be fairly hard to see for troops coming up over a hill or for vehicles, and they may not see that gun there till the last minute. Anyways, just want to get an idea of what you guys think. Like I said, this is just base play. Just threw something together. Well, the idea stretched my head. Sometimes someone asks me about little MOCs, and I'm not a MOC builder, but if you have a little idea, scratch it on paper. Try to do a quick MOC, a quick idea. Like these trees, I think these aren't right, but I think I'm onto something here. Because I've been trying to find a tree that's easy to replicate, that has more of a jungle feeling, or could be used, like in Clone Wars. But anyways, please give me out your thoughts on this. And of course, all this still opens when I try to break a tree or anything. So it literally is just the parts, as I said, and then literally left it unmodified. But anyways, please give me a comment what you guys think, guys and gals out there. If this is something we fit into a MOC, or maybe a much larger, kind of a, I don't know, eternal warfare, if you will, kind of thing, Anyways, really appreciate the views out there and the great support. Y'all take care. Until next time. Ciao.